The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
And welcome into the EP Podcast. My name is Chris. Hannah is off. If you listen on Friday, you know why. See, that's why you never want to miss an episode. Good thing they're all on demand, everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com. Belly on up to my 9-foot homemade oak bar. Pour yourself a cold one. This episode brought to you, just like all the others, by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, located in that iconic building on the corner of 95th and Pulaski. It's back to school time, and no matter what that looks like for you this year, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park can set up students for success with a student checking account. Whether they're starting their first job, heading off to college, students will have the resources they need to manage their money from anywhere. Online and mobile banking tools like remote check deposit, cardless cash, and much, much more. To open up a student checking account today, visit bankevergreenpark.com/student/EP. No minimum required to open. Member FDIC. Frank Murray's down at the bar. He's the new guy who's in charge over at the library. I'm going to probably call you the new guy for at least a couple years. You cool with that?
Hey, that counts, yeah. At least 5 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a period of time where you're just always going to be the new guy, Frank. But you've been on this show already. This is your second appearance, and I wanted to check in and see what's going on because we're getting close to the school year, and I know the library does a lot of stuff that coincides with the kids going back to school. And I was like, perfect time, get him in here. Plus the fact that, man, fall in Evergreen Park, the amount of events and things going on, I'm sure you're going to throw even more on my plate today. How are you?
I'm doing good, Chris. Thanks for having me on again. And you're absolutely right. We got a loaded fall. So You better get that calendar ready, get it out. And just let me start off by saying, everybody, let's make sure you be on the lookout for your fall newsletter, which is going to be coming out at the end of August. Maybe early September, but definitely early August. It's going to be packed full of all sorts of awesome events.
I always look forward. You want to know why? We like to have a segment every once in a while I flip through and find the really weird things that you're doing at the library. So I can't wait. You know, like how to can your own yams. I'm like, that's an actual class at the library. Like, I want to find those kind of things and kind of peruse them.
Isn't it great that you can find anything at the library? It's really, that's what makes the library so special.
People forget there's books there. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
It's a good thing. We're more than just books. And talking about weird programs and weird events, we got this one weird one that's coming up. It's Meet the Director, where people get to come and meet me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It sounds really awesome.
Feeling big about yourself. Like people might want to come and see you?
No one probably will. But we're going to have some fun stuff. We're turning it into kind of like a family fest. And staff has kind of dubbed it as Frank Fest. So we're going to have all sorts of fun things. We're going to have a donut truck from Doe's Guys out in Crestwood. They're going to come in, have some donuts for folks. It's one of my favorite little things to eat. So, of course, we got to have some donuts. We're going to have a petting zoo. We're going to have an escape room, and we're also part of the library on the inside. We're turning into like a little mini golf course, so you can come in and have some fun.
Wow, what day is this thing?
So this is Saturday, September 25th. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to noon.
So a 2-hour event, donuts, escape room, mini golf inside the library. People get to meet you. That's the highlight of the whole thing. That's the big deal.
I just came here for the donuts and the petting zoo.
Right. Yeah. Don't you want to meet Frank? No. I would like to go in that escape room, though. Like, maybe you're in a surprise. Like, if they can get out of the room, you pop out of, a door opens up, be like, surprise, you won. I'm Frank. And they're like, oh.
Hopefully, people have a lot of fun. They can talk to me if they want to. Hopefully, they'll say hello.
How intense is this escape room going to be? Like, how intense is the escape room?
Not intense. It's going to be built for families and, just a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I would have liked to.
We'll get a more intense one for you down the road.
I would have liked an intense escape room. Okay. Maybe work on that in the future. I like an escape room that makes me think to myself, maybe, just maybe, there really is an apocalypse going on. Yeah. Like, maybe, just maybe. Like, I want the scary one.
You want to get scared.
You work on that for me, okay? All right. Maybe for Halloween or something like that.
Ooh, there we go.
There you go. What else you got?
Well, you talked about schools. We're doing a couple things with District 124. We partnered with them with a reading app called Sora. And it's going to allow all the students at District 124 to gain access to all the library's ebook contents through the Overdrive app that we have currently. So we're really excited about that. That's going to be launching up here for start of the school year.
Okay.
And then we're also partnering up with the high school, Evergreen Park High School, and Berwyn Public Library for a young adult author event. There's going to be an author panel. There's going to be 3 authors discussing their books and allowing kids to ask questions. So we're really excited about that as well.
I think that's neat. I know I never wrote a novel or wrote a book, but it was something that when I was in high school, I wanted to do. And it was very difficult to find like anything for high schoolers. Like maybe you could write for the paper. Like I wrote for the Daily Standard for Brother Rice when I was in high school. That's where I went. But I mean, even though I could write an article every week or write 2 articles a week or something like that, I never felt there was enough that encouraged like actually sitting down and writing a short story or a book or something along those lines. I think that's really cool.
Actually, November is actually National Writers Month. So we're going to be looking into doing stuff with that too.
That's cool. I'm into the writers. I like them. I was going to be a writer. Then I realized that I could just talk and it would save me a lot of time. A lot of different things that are happening. Plus, you're going to run into Halloween, Thanksgiving, anything centering around the holidays or the changing of the seasons.
Oh, man, we got a ton of stuff throughout the whole September, October is going to be geared towards fall, and obviously October more focused on Halloween. But the big one that we have going on right off the start of the bat, we're going to have a nocturnal animals presentation at the library September 4th, focusing on bats and other nocturnal animals that you find in the neighborhood.
Are there going to be bats there?
There's going to be bats there.
You're going to have bats at the library?
You're going to have bats at the library.
Will
yes.
Batman also be at the library?
He might have to make an appearance. It only goes with the theme, right? It only goes with the theme.
Seriously, 20 years ago, I would have just had a stunt guy from my radio station dress up as Batman and lurk around the library for a week just because it would have been funny to do when you were doing that. All right, so we've got bats, we've got books, we've got mini golf with escape rooms and you jumping out of a closet. What else we got at the EP library?
What else we got? Well, we got I think we've already mentioned this before too, but we've got a Wi-Fi hotspot lending program that folks can come in and check out hotspot devices, take them home for up to a week.
Right.
There's no charge that goes with that. So that's free of charge. Folks, especially now with more remote working going on, remote learning, hopefully school districts don't have to go back. But, in case people need those resources, we have them there as well. And we also have Zoom tablets for seniors. It's a tablet that's designed to help older adults get introduced to technology and connect, to family meetings that are being done over Zoom or health appointments that are being done over Zoom too. And we're there to instruct you and show you how you can use that device to connect to your information needs.
So Frank is also in the 6-inning softball league that we've been talking about an awful lot here on this show, and we're playing each other.
Yes.
In our next contest that I have. We just realized that when we were talking to each other, we're going head-to-head our teams. Any injuries so far this year, Frank?
Injuries to our team?
No, injuries to you.
Oh,
because
injuries to me.
I have like 7 so far.
There's always that.
I'm an injury a week right now.
Injury a week, yeah. There's always that lingering hamstring injury that doesn't quite go away.
Right.
Takes that quick step away.
I wish that's all I had.
But
have you ever woken up, your hands basically flippers because you've hurt both of them at the same time? Anything like that ever happened to you before?
Yeah, every Thursday morning. And my back too. It's like, what? You're like, you can't bend.
Everybody feels good after the game. Everybody feels good at the end of the night. Everybody wakes up the next day in terrible pain. And then for some reason, we drag ourselves out the next week. This is what middle-aged men do, right?
There's still that ounce. It's just an ounce of competition, a competitive bone that's still left. And, and your body's saying no.
And the belief that
anymore.
we're younger.
Yeah,
that's what it is,
too.
too.
Yeah.
It is now time for your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Porter Cullen's Irish Pub and Restaurant, located right on 99th Street, 3541 West 99th in the southwest quadrant of Evergreen Park. Along with all the Irish fare that you would expect from Porter Cullen's, there's also a brand new private party room, and gaming is there. New game room, slots, 21 and over. Premier place in Evergreen Park to go get your gaming on. Get more details at portercullens.com. You are less than 1 month away from the deadline to get your new vehicle sticker. September the 15th is the deadline. Avoid the crowds. Order online. You can pay with a credit card now for no additional fee. Go to the Village website, evergreenpark-ill.com. You can also go there to see the full guide, the Fall Recreation Department booklet. Details on one of our previous episodes, go back and look at last Monday's show. We broke it all down with Josie Donovan from the Rec Department. Remember, the Village of Evergreen Park is still offering for a limited time the annual 50/50 sidewalk replacement program. They pay $90 to repair a sidewalk square in front of your home. You pay the other $90. Set up an appointment, get it all measured, figure it out. 708-422-1562. Coming up very quickly, make your plans now. 5 p.m. It kicks off September the 6th, Labor Day here in Evergreen Park at 50 Acre Park, 91st and Rockwell. The City Lights Orchestra with a big concert, all free, fireworks at dusk. Should be a beautiful night. Come on out, have a blast with your neighbors here in the EP. And don't forget, this Tuesday, August 24th at Central Middle School, District 124's Back to School Bash, open to the community, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Once again on Tuesday with the EP podcast, live on the scene. Food, fun, music, a foam machine. What else could you want? That's your word on the street. Frank Murray from the library. Hang out a moment. I'm going to get to you a little bit later on here in this show. Still much more ahead. An event that just happened this past weekend, though. I know everybody was excited to find out, did Tom Hanks show up at the first ever Evergreen Park Type-In? The answer? No. What are you, crazy? Tom Hanks wasn't coming to that. But I did talk to the guest of honor and learned all about a fascination with typewriters. Sarah Everett is standing here with me, and you traveled a distance to get here to talk about vintage typewriters. First of all, how old are you and how did you get into this?
So I'm 24, and I got into typewriters because I watched California Typewriter, the documentary with Tom Hanks in it, and I saw that and I thought that was so cool. Bought my first typewriter, and the second you tell everyone else that you're interested in typewriters, they give them to you, and you end up with a full collection without ever wanting one. So now I have 30 typewriters. I think of them as like lost kittens, and I'm their foster mom, and I fix them up, and then I send them off on their way, and yeah.
Do you use them all? Like, I mean, is there a difference, like, where you sit there and say, I want to write something, I want to type something, and this is the perfect typewriter for it? Does that really exist?
It does, and you'll find that with people who know a lot more about typewriters than me. They have preferences on what the typewriter feels like, what the font looks like when you're typing on it. You know, there's a difference in feel between like a little portable one and a big heavy one that you put on the desk. There's a difference in feel. I play with them more for my YouTube channel. I like to collect different ones to show people on the internet. So for me, the more different they look and the more repairs I can show people how to do is really what I'm going for as a collector. But when you're going to write on them, people who've tried a lot will have their specific preferences for, feel of a typewriter.
Tell me a little bit about this YouTube channel, because this is something that we've had some fun with Glenn, who put this all together. I was like, people are really into typewriters that much, but you have a channel. Like, how many people are following this? How long have you been doing it for? What's the name of it?
Yeah, so it's called Just My Typewriter. I have a YouTube channel and an Instagram, both the same name. I have 1,350 followers on YouTube and 2,700 on Instagram. So the people exist out there.
They do.
They exist out there that are into typewriters. It's not just me and Glenn. But yeah, there are people out there who will go for repair advice, people who maybe saw a typewriter in a movie or in a documentary and want to get into them. I like to think of myself as like the person who gets people into typewriters to make them less intimidating. Because sometimes if you look at them, they look like a lot to fix. And I don't want people to be scared of them. I want them to try them. They're cool. Even if you only use it once a year, it's a cool thing to have in your home and play with. And that's my goal as a creator. So yeah, Just My Typewriter on YouTube and Instagram.
Sarah, you came a long way to come to Evergreen Park and talk typewriters. I appreciate you talking with us, and have a safe travel back.
All right, thanks so much.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, How can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Hannah is not in this week. We're going to keep her away until the next episode just because we wanted to make sure we had all of our ducks in a row over here because the kids all caught COVID. If you missed the episode with me talking about the fact that I have 3 kids with COVID-19 inside of my house, that is already out on demand, a conversation between myself and Dr. David Beckman from Family First Medical Group as we kind of discovered right there within that 24-hour period what was going on. And I just want to take a quick break in the show, just give a few moments here, bring my wife down here to the 9-foot homemade oak bar. Erika's been on the show before. Honey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
You know I'm good. Okay. It's weird to greet you like we haven't seen each other every day for the last 20 years, but I wanted to give like an opportunity for you to sit down here because you've gone through this as well as I have. And one of the reasons why I've been talking so freely about the fact the kids all got COVID-19 is that I've noticed, and I know you've seen it as well, ever since I've kind of gone public with it, there's a lot of people reaching out and saying thank you because in reality, all you ever see in news stories is the worst thing. And that isn't to diminish anything that's happened to families, to individuals, to those who have lost their lives to COVID-19. But it's not a disease that takes out 99% of the population. It actually does the opposite of that. The vast majority of people survive COVID-19. And we've had a lot of people reach out and say thank you because I've been nervous about my kids going back to school. I've been nervous about what's happening with the Delta variant. I've been scared. I've been worried. And to have somebody kind of explain what it's really like when it goes through your house these days has put my mind at ease a little bit. Not to say you disregard it, not to say that you shouldn't go get a vaccine if you're an adult, you're vaccinated, I'm vaccinated. But a lot of people have kind of said, thanks, right?
Right. They did. A lot of people reached out, said thank you. I'm a little bit less worried about my kid going to school. At least I know what to look for, and I can just hope that, everybody has the same situation that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, what we've noticed, first of all, and you tell me if I'm leaving anything out here, every single one of them had some reaction, right? But what I noticed was that the oldest kid got it worse. The youngest kid had the least amount of problems. The one in the middle fell right in the middle. It's almost as if over the last 20 months we've been told the older you are, the more at risk you are. Because even within the kids, the youngest one had the easiest time of this, even though all 3 of them were positive. And the oldest one at 15 years old had the hardest time of it. And she lost 2 senses, taste and smell. The middle kid just lost taste, and he seems already be getting it back a day or 2 later. Like, it's interesting, depending on their age, how they've reacted to it, right?
Right. And I think we were fortunate, like, not too many fevers. Like, Audrey had more fever than Dominic, and Nick got his fever later, but it didn't last very long. And I think also the older that she was, the more body aches that she had. Those were the main concerns that she was concerned about, was her head hurting, the fever, which did not get very high, and also the body aches, where we didn't see that as much as in our littlest, where he just had the fever, but was still playing.
He doesn't even realize that he
still
has
happy. He gets to watch more TV, eat ice cream all the time.
He keeps telling me, he's like, I got to watch TV all day because I got the Rona. That's all he keeps telling me at 6 years old. Like, he's going to walk around and tell people he's got the Rona for the next 6 months. I'm going to have to keep telling people, like, no, he's fine, because he's just going to keep claiming that he has it now. But the other thing that I kind of wanted to have you down here for was that I made this public, not only amongst friends and family, but I talked about it on the EP podcast on Friday. I talked about it, mentioned it on the Socks in the Basement podcast, and overwhelmingly people with support. But one of the things that I got back is that it almost seemed like there was a very small, but it was unnerving to me, very small amount of people that seemed almost disappointed my kids were doing well, because they were upset that I was like, we're fine, that I wasn't as upset. And maybe I'm not as upset. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Like, you know what I'm like. You know me. Like, 10 years as a 911 dispatcher, I've heard the worst things in the world. There's stuff that I could talk about on here that would make you all want to throw up in your mouths. Like, it's horrible, some of the things that I've listened to. And I've gotten to the point where I'm a very pragmatic compartmentalizing person when it comes to life and death. And I'm able to look at this and say, okay, 26 million, children or more have been infected with COVID-19. Around 300 of them have sadly passed away. That is a horrible tragedy for everybody that was touched by any one of those 300 children that passed away. But then I look at my kids and I go, I feel okay. Because I use that odd system in my head right away, because that's the only way I was able to get through every single day of listening to the worst stuff in the world. So I might be a little bit callous. So to me, I'm just kind of like, they'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I think it threw people off when I acted that way.
Well, you're more a statistical person. You're looking at all the data. You've been looking at the data since, day one of this virus.
You were nervous, though.
But I was.
You got freaked out.
I got freaked out.
You were like, my kids have COVID. You were like a mess. I'm like, they're going to be fine. And I felt like I was this one guy in an island going, they're going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
There is still a lot of unknowns out there. And so, if it's your kid, I think I was more worried. But, with you having the level head that you have and, even talking to the doctor about it, it kind of helps put my mind at ease that they're going to be okay. And I even got to talk to their pediatrician, and basically he said, we're just living with it. Everybody's going to get it eventually, and we're just going to live with it, and they'll be fine. This is what you need to do, and this is what you need to look at if things go for the worst, and just give us a call, and we'll be there holding your hand. So I think we're fortunate that we had a great support team already in place with the doctors that we know and that we have, and then also everything that you read to make me feel a little bit more calm.
Because I don't go on any weird websites or get my information off of Twitter. I look at the CDC website. I talk to doctors. I've been into this since day one, paying attention to the ebbs and flows and everything that's going on. The other thing I kind of wanted to address is that some people thought me not being that worried about my kids meant that for some reason, I was against vaccines. If you were paying attention on Friday, or if you heard me talk on the Sox in the Basement show, I thought I made it very clear that we were fortunate that you and I have a vaccine. And I've actually been trumpeting the fact that the Moderna vaccine seems to be indestructible. I kissed COVID 3 times every night and sent it to bed. Okay. Especially Nick, who's 6 years old. I woke up one night to him embracing me, breathing open mouthed into my face, his mouth on my nose. I woke up to and the fact that then we went and got tested and didn't have the virus, didn't have a viral load that we could pass anybody else, and were cleared with that vaccine. They're all different. I feel like, if you got the Johnson & Johnson, you when you got it, it was only giving you a 60-some% protection. Okay. I'm a big believer in the vaccines, especially, I keep telling you this, Moderna's like the Cadillac of vaccines. If somebody hasn't gotten it yet, I'd be like, go get the Moderna. I literally had COVID, breathe it down my nostrils and kiss me on the lips and didn't get it.
I think I'm very fortunate that you convinced me to get the vaccine because you got it before me. I was surprised that you got it after all the conversations that we had, but you said this is the one I want to get, and you went out and got it. And I'm like, well, I guess I should bite the bullet and I should get it too. And I am very happy that I did take the time to get the vaccine.
Right.
I feel like you and I would have gotten it, especially because we did not quarantine our kids. So we would have gotten it.
It made it easier. It made it easier to understand that they're sick, but I can take care of them. We have friends who have a kid that's sick right now, and they basically put the kid in the room for 2 weeks because they're not vaccinated. We also have people that we know where the vaccinated father in the family got so sick, ended up in the hospital. But doctors are like, the vaccine is probably the reason why he's back home from the hospital and he's alive. So trust me, you've heard it here. I've said it already. I've said it multiple times. I've mentioned that we were vaccinated. They work. There's clearly a difference when you have it or not. I'm not going to tell anybody to go get it. That isn't my job. I'm never going to preach to anybody what they should do. You're adults. Make a decision. But if you're wondering the difference in it, it worked. This highly contagious thing that we're hearing about, this Delta variant, okay, which you were told by the pediatricians, that's what they ended up with, okay? That this highly contagious thing right in my face 5-6 days in a row. At their most contagious, nothing. Okay, now I know that there are some breakthroughs, but with the Moderna one, it's less than 1%. And Dr. Beckman explained that. So trust me, if you want anybody to sit there and if you want to ask anybody, do they work? Ask me. All right. I was in the Petri dish. I'm I'm like an experiment, right? I was thrown inside of a household with these children, and they're just walking around, COVID everywhere. All right. I mean, and they don't even act like they have it. That's the funny thing. Like they walk right up, they hug you, they blow their nose, they touch. I mean, your son Dominic leaned over my food the other day and just was like, put his nose like right over my food that I was making. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I was looking at what you're making. I'm like, you're breathing directly into the food that I'm eating. Nothing. So trust me, they work. All right. What you're going to do with that, whatever you want to do with that. It's not my job. But I will tell you this, they work. That was something that I learned, and they're doing really well. That's the bottom line is, as we end this and we move on to other things here on the show, the bottom line is they're all doing very well. It all kind of went how Dr. Beckman described that it was going to go on Friday. I'm telling you, if you're a parent, go listen to that show. It's really interesting. We had just found out that our kids all had COVID. We got on with a doctor. We talked about the things that we ran into at the Cook County Department of Public Health, what the pediatrician said, got advice from Dr. Beckman. We talked an awful lot about the different things we could expect. It went just as he described. That's how he described pretty much the norm for children. We went through that. All right. So we'll give you a really good idea of it. And if you're not interested in it, the show's on demand. You can skip the COVID parts. Okay. There's parts that are non-COVID coming up right now. This is the EP Podcast, found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com. You know, I get muscle aches all the time. I've gone from being able to do whatever I want to and not feeling any pain to basically getting pain for any kind of physical activity. Good news, there's a local family-owned Southside business that provides a CBD topical that will not break the bank. Creaky Bone Balm offers concentrated relief for creaky bones. It is an effective hemp-based CBD in a rejuvenating balm. And guess what? It's made in small batches, always free of preservatives, and all natural ingredients. It's great for muscle aches, tension, inflammation, joint pain. You can even use it for skin ailments like burns and dry, cracked skin. Right now, go to creakybone.com and use the promo code BASEMENT. Get 20% off your order. And now check out the new 2,500 milligram balm with reduced pricing on their classic balms right now at creakybone.com. Frank Murray from the EP Library. I'm going to give you one more thing. Just throw me one more thing here because you got it.
There's too much.
You got really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer. Just rattle through it. Ready? Go.
So September is National Library Card Sign-Up Month. Come inside, either sign up for a new library card or renew your library card. We're going to have a drawing that people will get entered into when you sign up for your library card or renew it. We also are welcoming a new member of the library team. Nutella is a new friend that we have, a little squirrel that we put together for summer reading.
I was so worried for a second, Frank, that you thought that a jar of Nutella was your new friend. I was like, well, that's it for this library director. Time to find a new one.
Chris, the kids will know what I'm talking about. We have kids come in just to find Nutella, the squirrel.
The Nutella, the squirrel. Make sure you say the squirrel every time you say it. Okay.
The squirrel. That's what we're going for. So we did a contest over summer reading, Name the Squirrel, and Nutella is the name of the squirrel. So we're happy to finally have a name for the squirrel, and he'll still be hiding around the library all over the place, so kids can come in.
Wait, I'm sorry. The squirrel runs free in the library?
It's a knitted squirrel. It's not alive.
Oh, man. I was thinking right then and there, like, this is the coolest thing in the world. There's just a squirrel running around.
Like Dewey the cat.
Right. And then all of a sudden, the squirrel, like, somebody removes a book and the squirrel just jumps out, like in Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Like, that's what I was imagining.
Maybe next year, but right now we'll sit with the knitted squirrel. Much safer environment. Probably won't chew the books, make nests, but no, it's a lot of fun. The kids have a lot of fun coming in and trying to find the squirrel.
Okay.
And then the last thing on my list here that I want to bring up, we're going to have a fantasy football league at the library. This is something I've done every year at every library I've been at for the past 7 or 8 years. It's been a lot of fun. Program I start to try to just try to get that elusive demographic in the library. Men in the ages of 20 to 50.
I'm already in.
Yep, there we go.
Let me know. When's the draft?
It's perfect for experienced vets like yourself or new people that just want to learn the game and see what it's all about. Draft's going to be Tuesday, September 7th, and it's going to be at 6:30. You can sign up. You got to sign up online through our library's website and enter your email address so I can email you the link to join the league. You can do the draft either from home or come in. We'll have the equipment there for you to do the draft live at the library.
Awesome. Very exciting. Frank Murray, he's the director of the library. He has an inanimate object that that he moves about the building. He jumps out of closets and says, "Hi, I'm Frank. I would like to have an event and meet you." And he plays 16-inch softball with less injuries than what I get. And you're becoming a star, my friend.
Chris, now you just jinxed me, man. I got a feeling there's going to be a bad injury on my horizon here. Thanks a lot.
Well, we're going up against you. We're going up against you. And I'm not trying to get you injured, but you look like an athletic guy, and I'm pretty sure we don't want you doing any damage against our team. That's all I'm saying.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Frank Murray from the library. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Chris.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's going to be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nudist basement. And the nudist basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudist basement. Broadcast basement. The nudist basement. The broad basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found. And always at the eppodcast.com.